Hey guys, subscribe for daily knife content. And if you're shopping for knives and gear, make sure you check out the description of the video you're watching right now for links to some great online retailers. There's also individual links for knives that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got a review I should have done a long time ago. Believe it or not, I have never reviewed the Spyderco Dragonfly. This knife was sent to me by the good, the great, the Nick Shabazz. Thank you so much, Nick, for sending in your Dragonfly for me to take a look at. Yeah, so I realized I'd never even handled one. There's kind of a cult following behind this knife, and I don't think it's because, you know, Nick Shabazz shows his. I think these have been popular for a really long time. I mean, a lot of people still talk about how great of an EDC knife the Spyderco Dragonfly is. I've spent some time with this, kind of played with it, messed around with it, and I've got some thoughts to share, but yeah, how weird that I just can't believe I've never reviewed this knife. I will be linking the Spyderco Dragonfly right down in the description. There are a lot of versions of this right now. Wide variety of price ranges and steels. There's some versions coming. We're going to talk about all that, so you can feel free to check this out if you want to right down in the description. And I'll make sure and link Spyderco knives in general as well. Thanks so much to my generous patrons who are supporting me right now. You can find a link for my Patreon down in the description. And please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. Let's go ahead and get some measurements here. Overall length of the Dragonfly. This is not a big knife. Coming in at 5.5 inches, roughly. Blade length is coming in at, that's like 2 1/4. So very legal blade length for a lot of people. That's going to be great. Cutting edge is coming in at about 1.9. So not a big knife. How about some size comparisons up against the Ontario Rat Model 1 and Ontario Rat Model 2? Let's move this guy down just a little bit. So you can see here, yeah, absolutely not a big boy. How about up against the Spyderco PM2 and Spyderco Para 3? Exact same situation here. Not a big knife. And last but not least, the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue, and the Benchmade Mini Griptilian. Mini Griptilian actually looking hulking compared to the Dragonfly, but that's something that a lot of people want. They do want a smaller knife, or maybe a fifth pocket knife, something like that. This is, I don't know if I'd call this a fifth pocket knife. It could be if you took the pocket clip off of it, right? I mean, maybe, I don't know. It just depends on your pockets and what you're looking for. Let's go ahead and do carry profile. Thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3. You can see here, this is not a thick knife. It's very thin, which is going to, of course, sort of accentuate the whole ease of carry thing. Length and height up against the Spyderco PM2 and Para 3. Yeah, this is just not a cumbersome object. I don't really care that it's kind of tall right here because it's still not as tall as nowhere near as tall as the PM2 and Para 3. Nowhere near as long, right? Also not thick on the blade stock here. Where are my calipers? Seriously? There they are. I'm going to guess that it has an insano thin spine. Let's take a look here. Gosh darn it. Zero out. Yeah, look at this. That's not thick. Not thick at all. Obviously. We are looking at injection mold plastic. On this one, this is actually the discontinued ZDP 189 variant. Which, I mean, I'm not necessarily reviewing the ZDP 189 variant here. I'm really just talking about the Dragonfly design. It does not have, as far as I know, camera, come on now. This is the object. I don't believe there's any liner in there. No, it's just injection mold plastic. And so the integrity is coming from the steel backspacer, right? So there you go. Weight, I'm going to guess that this weighs less than 2 ounces. Let's find out. Yup. 1.23 ounces. I mean, this is not a difficult object to carry. It's just not going to be. So there you go. Do with that information what you will. Let's go ahead and talk about this thing all the way around. So this is a small object, and I found a little bit of difficulty figuring out where to naturally brace to open this thing. Once I figured out, you know, as is the case usually with all things, you adapt to it. It is a little bit awkward. I'm finding the cat's paw is my hand is going super cat's paw to kind of find the position to open it. It is not the most comfortable knife to find that position for me, right? But I mean, it can be pinch opened. It can be opened with 2 hands, right? This isn't a knife that I feel compelled to like open in a tactical way, but I can, right? I don't need to reverse flick it out, and I definitely don't need to like thumb flick it out, but I can. I kind of just want to pick it up, and open it like this. I find that my pinky sometimes catches over the top because I'm trying to like grip it, and I'll open it and realize my pinky's like touching the top of it. I'm used to this. This makes much more, the para 3 makes more sense with my hands. They know where to go. And so my para 3 hand wants to do the same thing with this guy, and I found that after a certain amount of time, I start to get a lot of stress right here in my wrist, right? But it's not like the knife was made to be open and closed multiple times in a row. I mean, truthfully, with this knife, I probably would just open it with 2 hands, and it'll work, right? So the hole is obviously very accessible. It's just the amount of room that I have to open this. It's a Spyderco. I want to open it with 1 hand. So when I have to position, if I position too high, I'm definitely putting. If I position too low, I end up wanting to brace over the top of the blade again, right? So it's just awkward for me. It's just kind of weird. I'm being honest with you guys. My wrist is literally, the muscle in the side of my forearm is literally, it sounds so dumb. The muscle in my forearm has been fatigued, and I've been I am being shut down, physically by this Spyderco Dragonfly. But that's honestly what I'm noticing here. If your hands are different than mine, if your hands are smaller than mine, right, or you're just better with the Dragonfly than me, then maybe your experience is different. But yeah, that's kind of the case. With this knife, I think I'd just be opening it with 2 hands, which is fine, but I want to open it with 1 hand. The edges and everything, all this stuff, I mean, this is all knocked down. It's not sharp. Honestly, the backlock here, for disengaging the backlock, the handle shape is very good. And the backlock itself is, they've got this divot here. It's very comfortable. A lot of times with backlocks, they're in kind of a weird spot, or they're sharp, or it's flat up on the spine, and it's a little, this is okay. This is the Police 4, which he also sent me. But yeah, the most comfortable part of the handle for me, I mean, it's almost like it's shaped very specifically to disengage that with 1 hand. And it's really, it's comfortable, right? You get your finger in that choil there. But, so, it is ergonomic. Like, I get kind of what they were doing with it. But this heavy area in here, this huge scoop, it doesn't feel like, I mean, like, if the middle of my hand was 1 big potato finger, I think that might make more sense. Maybe, I don't know. I don't want this area to be so cut out. I kind of want it to be straighter. I think the whole thing would have been more comfortable. It's not that it's uncomfortable. It's just weird. I mean, I can hold it. I'm not feeling like I'm, going to drop it or anything like that. It's just odd. This knife is so small that it really just makes me want to do cuts like this, or I'm going to hold it like this and cut into a package. And the line here, or this body shape, is just bizarre to me. It's not bad. It's just not like, oh man, Spyderco melty goodness, right? Like Para 3. Yeah, ooh, all these, this all feels great. Or the Shaman, excellent. This is just, it's just weird. I don't know. I mean, like, if I was grading a paper, I'd give it a C, because it's confusing to me. It's different, right? But yeah, it does look, I don't feel like I'm going to drop it. Up here, choked up. I mean, typical Spyderco choke up, and, jimping, they all of their knives kind of have that sort of, like, you choke up and put your thumb back here, right? Feels good. Blade, I mean, this size of knife truly is going to be more than I'd ever need day to day, truthfully. So that cutting edge, or if we're talking about ratios, blade to handle or cutting edge to overall length ratio, whatever you want to do, it's weird, yeah, but that blade is going to do mostly, most of everything that I would need it to do. I do like how this looks here, this sort of arrowhead looking, how they do the swedge up top. That's nice. It does definitely get very, very thin behind the edge. This is definitely going to slice, get you through what you're trying to do, and then you can put it away, right? Absolutely. Spine up here, I mean, this one's satin, so these, you can see, they're always a little bit sharp, but no big deal. Down on the cutting edge, obviously, the area that you want to be sharp, very, very sharp. Nice pointy tip. Depending on what the steel is, this will be more or less durable for whatever it is you're going to use it for, but obviously this isn't a hard-use knife. I don't know why you'd use it that way. These have come in VG10. In fact, they still do. The base price for these is about $70. I think you can get a Dragonfly for $70 in injection mold plastic in VG10. I don't want VG10 for that. I mean, VG10 to me is like, it used to be a much better steel, and people are still, doing just fine with it right now. But the you know, $5 to $100 territory, we're seeing way, way, way more preferable steels. Steels that will hold an edge longer and still have great stainless qualities and toughness properties, right? Yeah, so the VG10 one, this ZDP 189 version, I think was about $94, and I think that that was a much better deal. The ones that are coming out that I would recommend if you really want a Dragonfly, wait for the K390 variants. It's like all of the Seki City Japan stuff will come in this. If it's gonna be K390, will come in this sort of teal or light blue, whatever you want to call that. FRN or injection mold plastic, and then K390. K390 will hold an edge way, way longer. Still plenty tough. It's not going to be stainless though. If you really need the stainless qualities, okay, go with VG10, right? But I would wait and go with K390. It is going to take a little bit more time to sharpen though, but I think I'd rather pay, and it'll be about $100 by the way. I'd rather pay $100 for K390 than $70 for VG10. And you know, again, we don't judge really the materials on the knife for value, or at least I don't, or I try not to. You judge the total, you know, the final product here. But in this territory, you know, we're looking at, you know, if we're talking about the K390 variant, we're talking about a Honda Civic build with a Dodge Demon motor in it. That's what we're looking at there. So, I mean, yeah, I'm going to judge materials a little bit more there when we talk about value. Anyways. Yeah, I do like the blade shape. I think it looks great. You can see, of course, we have Spyderco ZDP 189 on one side and then Seki City Japan on the other. I don't have any issues with the blade. My issues are mainly with the weirdness of the ergonomics. We didn't do a hardware check on this guy. Should we do that real quick? Let's go ahead, just to check it for you guys. Tools are very inexpensive, very recommendable. You can find them right down in the description. I'm gonna get it. T8. Very soon. This phone is going to go. I use my phone to record these, and I will be getting a new phone. I don't know what it is yet, but soon. T8 for the pivot, and then also T8 for the screw that's holding in the pocket clip, and that's going to be a T6 right there. So, no big deal. Not an issue. This isn't really a knife that I can see myself wanting to take apart. It has the wire clip, which I've really come to enjoy, but they prioritize this lanyard thing above it, and then it's like also still got, look at this. This is such a tiny knife, and like there's so stupid lanyard hole. Stupid. God dang it. So dumb. I don't understand why. I mean, like the pocket clip could have been in a different, like I almost would have liked it angled like this, way up here. Still land on that little spot right there that, you know, makes it easy to slip in and out of your pants. And then that lanyard hole could be back here or just not there, because why, right? If you like lanyards, okay, but I just don't, I care way more about the pocket clip position. This is fortunately an ambidextrous lock, and there is a mounting position on the other side for left-handed people. So whether you're left or right-handed, doesn't matter, right? You can flip the clip around. So that's cool. I appreciate that, but that's stupid. Lockup. Absolutely solid. No blade play up, down, left, or right. Now, Nick has obviously been using this, but it's a little off-center to the left. I mean, it could have been Nick just using it. Maybe it needs a quick turn of the pivot. Maybe, you know, sometimes they come that way from Seki City, Japan. I don't really know. Obviously, you want everything to be centered, but I'm not going to judge this thing too hard because it's obviously a user, right? So what do I think about this? Man, I really don't like opening it with one hand, but that's just me. If your hand size is different, then you might think differently. I also am very confused by this area in here. That's weird. I know how much people love this thing. I know, you know, how much people, you know, are just like, I love my Dragonfly. It's been so dependable. So, and here's the thing. The build quality is good. It's obviously, you know, going to be similar to like the Delica. And I'm happy with the build quality. It's fine. Trust Spyderco's heat treat. I think the K390 version is probably going to be the best version out there. So, I mean, if we're just talking about build quality and materials for the money, right, is would I pay $70 for VG10? I wouldn't. Maybe you would. I'd rather pay $100 for K390, and I think that one's going to be worth it. What do I think of the Dragonfly design all the way around. It's perplexing. It's weird. I can't really see myself wanting to carry this because, again, it's a Spyderco. I want to open it with one hand, but that odd cat's paw, it feels like I'm learning to play guitar for the first time again. Remember those of you who learned stretching your fingers out to hit all of those, areas? That's what it feels like every time I open this. And the more I do it, the more uncomfortable it is. And the more I'm like, ew, no. Because every time, if I was going to carry this, every time I'd have to pick it up and go like this. Now, to some people, that's going to be a major eye roll complaint, right? You're going to be like, you're going to judge an iconic, EDC folding knife off something that just bothers you a little bit. Well, yeah. I'm happy. Those of you who have carried and used this thing, whatever your Dragonfly is, you've been carrying it, using it, loving it, and it's just been the greatest thing in your entire life. Then obviously keep loving it. Don't stop just because I don't like it. But I don't really like this. I don't really like it. I'm sorry. It's just not my favorite thing in the whole world. If it was a little bit more comfortable to open and close with one hand, and the lines were a little bit different, I think I might like this a lot more. But I just don't. It's just not really my thing. But okay. So this is kind of a bug out situation, right? Now the bug out I dislike for other reasons. The bug out is very comfortable when we're talking about the Benchmade bug out. The Benchmade bug out is very comfortable to deploy, disengage. Ergonomic lines make sense. I just freaking hate how cheap it feels. I hate that, right? But I did recognize, the tool that it was, the capable tool that it was. And it did make a lot of sense in terms of what it's capable of, and then you talk about like how compact and lightweight it is. So the bug out's still a recommendable knife on this channel despite me not liking it. This is not exactly the same situation because it's not so much that it feels cheap because of the injectable plastic, which it does. It just doesn't quite feel as cheap as the bug out. And it's not really a price situation. I'm not really too bent out of shape about what they want for this, right? This is incredibly lightweight. It's going to be legal in places where other knives are not because of the blade length. The cutting geometry is very good and choked up, right? This is the most comfortable position. I can technically get a 4-finger grip on this guy. This is the most comfortable position. It will do what it needs to do, which is just simple, convenient, in the moment type EDC tasks, right? So yeah, if I can recommend one, it would be the K390 version, but the Dragonfly in general is just not something that I'm like, you guys got to get out there and get this thing. I really thought, I'm like, man, everybody loves this and they talk about it all the time. I'm sure I'm going to handle it and go, yeah, I see why people like, kind of. But is it the knife that I'm going to talk about when people are like, I got about $100 to spend on a knife. What do you recommend? Am I going to be talking about the Dragonfly? No, I don't think I am. I'm sorry. It's not the one that I like. And, sometimes I'm not giving this a negative review. This is just kind of a C+ of a knife to me. Fine. If you like the lines and you're like, I'm just really looking for a Spyderco knife that's like really lightweight and compact. I still want it to have a pocket clip, right? But if you're trying to get a super steal on something like that, then yeah, for $100, K390, you're carrying around a little plastic, rocket ship. It's just crazy. But yeah, I stand by my comments there that it is just not super comfortable to open for me, and the ergonomic lines are just not my favorite in the whole world. So I'm going to leave it at that. This will still go on in my Spyderco knives playlist for sure. Nick Shabazz, I do appreciate you sending this in. I'm glad I got a chance to look at it and give my honest thoughts. That's going to be pretty much it today, guys. Like I said, if you want to check out the Dragonfly and all of the different variants that are available, it is right down in the description, so feel free, along with Spyderco knives in general. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.